as people trickle in that they can just join us. I am going to introduce, just so you know, this presentation is a little bit shorter than the normal ones that we do at Smith.ai. I'm going to introduce Navin, and then he's going to talk for about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to talk for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to handle any of your questions that you have. And so hopefully you'll have plenty of time on the second end of this hour to, I don't know, get a coffee or get back to work or whatever it is that you like. So Navin is the co-founder at LawGro MagicTime, which is an AI-based automation timekeeping software for lawyers. He is committed to easing out pain points in existing legal, taxation, and business compliance using technology as a major disruptive force to change some of the dominant age-old practices. Having worked on both sides of the table, both customer and service provider, has offered him a unique opportunity to experience the pain points on either side and work towards addressing them. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Navin, and he's going to get started presenting.
Hey guys, thanks Kelsey for that introduction. Hey guys, I'm Navin. Really look forward to an interesting session today. So just allow me a moment. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yep, we can see it.
Great. So the agenda today is more about like how you can go about increasing your billable time while using both the virtual receptionist and also the passive timekeeping. So if you look at the problems that today's lawyer face, so what we've identified are there three major problems. So one, 80% of the lawyers still bill their time or bill their clients using time. So, and then the tools that is available in the market today are all completely manual. So there is certainly a decent amount of time which is lost because of the inaccurate time capture. So imagine, say you spoke to a client for almost say 22, 23 minutes and you bill them for say 30 minutes. So suddenly they see, oh man, like I just spoke for 23 minutes and then he is billing me for say 30 odd minutes. Secondly, whenever you work, you continuously use either a manual timer, which is a stopwatch or an Excel sheet or a pen and paper. But as a human, we all tend to not start or stop by the second or by the minute kind of thing. So you get started on a work and then you suddenly realize, oh, I didn't start a timer. Or you switched over to another work and then you forget that, oh, I forgot to stop the timer. So whenever you're trying to bill the clients, it's based on your memory. Okay, so even if you have worked for say 33 minutes, you think, oh, I really work for about say 25 or 30 minutes, that such kind of thing. So on one hand, like you bill your client for a lesser time than what you really worked on. So if it was 33.5 minutes, you bill them for say 30 minutes or say 25 minutes, and your client still feels like, oh, was it really say 25 or 30 minutes kind of a work, or was it really a 5-6 hours kind of a work? So there's a problem at both the ends. So inadvertently, whenever you're trying to bill based on memory, you always try to bill lower. And at the other hand, the client feels, was it really that much of an effort or a work really done for us? So that's the first big problem, that you have a revenue loss based on inaccurate time capture. The second that we have identified is as lawyers. So as you keep track of your time, there are cumbersome systems where you have to go ahead and file your time into your billing system. So you spend a lot of time per day or per week just to file what you have been doing. And this is something that you don't get paid for. right? So there is a hell lot of admin work that you continue to do, and with technology, this is something which can now be done in just say under a couple of minutes or in just a few clicks. And the third biggest problem is, as we just spoke, like say if you spoke to a client, or you had a meeting, or you did a research for them, and even if you have done an underbilling, your client, there is a certain level of mistrust because there is no transparency with them. Like say you spend you send them a bill for say 5 hours, they really think, is it something that you really worked for 5 hours, or it could have been done in say a lesser time or something. So there is a level of mistrust among the client, and so that you have so as per the Clio survey, if you look at the data, there is somewhere about 88% collection rate. So that is something that we're trying to address. I'm happy to introduce you to something called the time funnel. So basically, a time funnel is something which looks like this. So you spend certain amount of time, and then you just file a much lower time than what you have really spent. What you have filed, you bill really lower than what you have filed, and then the collection is lost. So there is a leaking bucket kind of a thing where there is a billable leakage everywhere, right? So every business has a funnel, and since lawyers spend majority of their time on uh, or the majority of your billing comes from the time spent, so we've identified this more as a time funnel rather than anything else. So what we're trying to do is, or each and every law firms which they're trying to do, is trying to maximize this realization, where whatever you have spent and what you collect is kind of, rather than a funnel, is more of a rectangular or a straight line kind of a thing. So that's a big problem that everybody is going through right now. Now, as I mentioned, now we are already in 2020, towards the end of it, probably next, yeah. And the technology has really taken a lot of stride. So, is there something that we can really automate? What we call it as, instead of automatic, we call it as Automagic. So, we have again divided it into three broad categories. One is auto capture. So, what if we can do where you really don't have to spend or break your head in tracking any of the activities that you do? Everything gets tracked automatically. The second is, it also gets categorized automatically, so you don't have to break your head in again identifying for which client you have been working on. And then it auto files, right? So this is broadly the three steps of filing your time sheets, or what we say as a timekeeping problem. So as a solution, what do we really capture? We capture all your desktop and web apps. So anything that you do on your desktop, whether it is a Mac or a Windows system, any application that you're working on, or any of the web activities like on a Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, wherever you work, uh, all the activities gets automatically captured. Communication is a big piece for all the lawyers. So whether it is an email, whether it is text messaging, online meetings, now with COVID going on, we all are spending all our time on online meetings, and then even if it is a phone call. So any of the communication channel, whatever time you spend, can that be really captured automatically? Then we have your calendars, and so later, as we say, like as the COVID come to an end, you'd all start going to places like meeting in a Starbucks or going to a court or anywhere else. So, can we even capture your location data where so it gives you a much more credible report and also a memory where like where exactly did you spend this time so that you can file it appropriately. We also any of the thing that you work with, say timers or even things like Alexa. So what if you can just say, hey Alexa, start my timer, and then it just continues to track your time. So can we capture anything, like can we make it much more easier, simpler for you? Or even if for people who are like in mid to large size firms, they have like a lot of custom softwares and stuff built. So we're looking at a lot of API things. API is more of a system to system talking. So we have a very powerful API engine where we can actually deploy that using the API. So these are the things that we capture automatically. So all of this comes right to LawGro MagicTime. And from there, you get three major things. One, you can file this thing to your billing system or CRM. And again, I'll speak as we go. What all things we are connected to. You get a very good reporting engine where you get a detailed analysis of where you've been spending your time, on which client, which app, how productive has been your day, and things like even how about going about team member reporting and stuff. So one thing that I wanted to highlight is like we very absolutely concerned about the privacy of things. So all the time log that you capture is completely private. So even if your company admin wants, they will never have access to that data. Only when you file your time, then only that data is being shared with your manager. So whatever time is filed is being shared, not the time that you spent or whatever we capture, that is never shared with anybody else. So that's what about the reporting thing, and then we also give you actionable insights based on like how has been your time velocity. So a lot of places we've seen people complaining like our team member doesn't file for say almost 1 month or 15 days kind of thing. So as you keep filing your time, we automatically calculate something called time velocity so that you can keep a tab on that and say how fast you have been filing your timesheets. Apart from like other actionable insights that is on the future that will come on, things like where you have been really spending time, how you can optimize on it or how you can improve on them. So these are some of the applications that we work with. So on the desktop and web app, like you work on, as I mentioned, Mac, Windows, Word, Google, Safari, Fastcase, anything that you work on gets captured. On the communication side, we have Outlook, Gmail, Ring Central. So a lot of VoIP solutions that we're working with, online meetings like GoToMeeting, GoToConnect, even Dialpad, Microsoft Team, every data we capture. On the meeting side, again, we can connect to your Calendly account, Google Calendar, and stuff like that. Location is still not there. We're still working on it. It's there on the roadmap, but yeah, things like trip log and stuff would get captured automatically. We've been working with Alexa, iOS, Google Android, and then manual timers and stuff. So this is also a work in progress. We haven't released it. It's still in like alpha mode right now. And yeah, that's and there's a lot many other applications. So these are some of the popular ones that we have highlighted here. And as you can see, like these are the systems that we currently work with. So we work with Clio, we work with Practice Panther, Filewine, Rocket Matter, Soluno, Litify, Nulo, LawPay. So even if you don't use a specific CRM and if you are there on LawPay, You can just go ahead and raise your invoices right from LawPay, Case Tempo, CPA charge, and then so many other solutions that we already working on. So going back to the funnel, what we have done on the funnel side. So as I mentioned, there are four dimensions: time spent, filed, billed, and collected. So on the time spent, we automatically capture each and every activities in the background. So once you install the software, you really don't have to worry whether I have started a timer or not. It will capture everything in the background. For filing the time, we trying to achieve something like a zero touch annotation and filing. So a lot of things you can define. For example, say you got a phone call or you made a phone call, you can just define a rule that okay, if there is a phone call which is greater than 1 minute or 5 minutes, whatever, depending on your preference, it will go ahead and automatically file it. You really don't have to intervene there. Same thing goes with any online meeting or a calendar event. So if you define a rule around it, it would go ahead and do it. You can also define rules something around like ignore my Facebook activities or Twitter activities or any time that I spend on CNN or CNBC kind of stuff. So you define them and we just continuously ignore that. So any time you spend, you really don't have to stop or start our software. It would just ignore those data and it will never show you. Now we also build a very powerful compliance rules engine where you can define client specific compliances that you have agreed on so that you can enforce them. So for example, say block billing is not allowed, or a future date billing is not allowed. So any kind of compliance and specific agreement that you have with the clients can always be enforced. So whenever you're filing a time, we would actually make sure that it complies to all your agreed terms with the client. So this allows you to make sure that none of the wrong invoicing is being raised, and probably the chances of getting paid is much more higher. And then we have this option where you can actually send a very transparent and a verifiable uh, client report to the client. So imagine, as we said, right, say from 11 o'clock to 11:17, you spoke to them, and say from 11:17 to 11:25, you worked on say a specific document, and then 11:25 to 11:40, you worked on say a specific research, or like these are the things. It could be like anything. So you have that option. Again, this is an optional field, but you have that option. Like we share this complete thing whenever you're filing your timesheet. All this data is shown to you. If you want, you can delete it then, but we highly encourage that you share that data so that the client knows okay, this is really the time that has been spent, and suddenly that trust factor goes up really high, and then your chances of getting paid becomes much more higher. So again, going back to our slide number one, what we've seen is like you lose, or you can capture more 30 more minutes per day with automatic time capture. So with manual time capture, you kind of losing almost about 30 minutes a day. So imagine if you are at a $500 an hour, then you're close to losing about $80,000 a year per lawyer. So that is something that you can increase. And then we've also seen like what people have been to file your timesheet, you've been spending almost about 45 minutes a day. That's again from some of the research reports. So now you can do it under a minute or two in just few clicks. So you save almost about 45 minutes a day from admin tasks. Now you can choose to have that as a more billable time, or you can have more fun with your family. And yes, with client verifiable report, you can improve your collections and with a happier client. So So that's it I have today. Overall, we expect that you would be able to increase your revenues by up to 22%. And if you, yeah, and we have a special offer which I'll talk about later after Kelsey's done. Over to you, Kelsey. Yeah.
Thank you. That was very interesting, and I'm really excited to see some of the still cool stuff that LawGro can do for lawyers. Um, I am going to go ahead and share my screen here. Um, Navin talked a little bit about how to get paid for more of the hours that you're actually going to work. What I'm going to talk a little bit more about is how to open up your time, open up your week to have more of those billable hours that you can actually work, and sort of siphon off and reduce some of these, you know, chores that you're doing, some of these admin tasks that you're doing day to day. I am going to move quite quickly through this presentation. So if you're interested in any of this information, or you see some technology that you want to revisit, all of these slides are available at bit.ly/more-billable-hours. We're also recording this, and I'll send you a link to the recording after this presentation. Really quickly, I'm Kelsey Johnson. I'm the product marketing manager at Smithai. I have close to 10 years experience in small business and small solo and small law firm consulting, focused on tech and digital communication and everything like that. Smithai is a virtual receptionist service for phone calls, texts, and we do live web chat and Facebook as well. I'm going to go back to the Clio Legal Trends Report, where I'm pulling a lot of this data on where lawyers are really spending their time and how we can, you know, take some of that time that you're spending on the things that aren't billable and reduce them using technology and software. And outsourcing solutions as well. So the average attorney spends only 2.5 hours on billable work per day, according to the 2018 Clio Legal Trends Report. And they spend 2.9 hours on admin work per day. So, you know, that's actually more than the billable work that you're doing per day. And so, you know, you're sort of wondering where you're spending this time. According to the report, 2.2 hours a day are spent on organizing and transferring information, and 4.7 hours a day are spent on billing and financials. So that's, you know, some of the stuff that they're talking about with LawGro. So let's take a look at the way that we can open some of this up. 23 minutes is the amount of time that it takes to recover from an interruption. That's not including the amount of time that you actually spend on the interruption itself. So this is, you know, thinking about that focus time, thinking about how long it takes for you to mentally get into a task. And if you're being pulled in a bunch of different directions, this is how long it takes to get back to it. And yet we all want our firms to grow. So let's take a look at some of the solutions to minimizing interruptions and then still maintaining that responsiveness in order to grow your business, in order to bring in those new leads. So the first one is obviously virtual receptionists. They're able to respond to your clients 24/7 via phone, text messages, web chats, and Facebook. And provide that responsiveness that you need, but also, you know, be able to take that interruption off of your plate, provide that front line, even if the interruption is just a sales call or a spam call. Having a virtual receptionist service on your team is just able to take so much of that time and give it back to you. Virtual receptionist services can also provide, you know, Facebook, web chat responsiveness, and do things like lead qualification, intake, scheduling appointments for you, accepting payments for you, and then, you know, be that full-time answering or just sort of after hours for you if you'd like. And that way you can focus either yourself or your team further down the funnel on those actual qualified leads, not just on the new leads that are providing those interruptions, in addition to potentially unqualified leads, spam, anything that's not important for you to be focusing on. And so doing the math, you can really, even just with 10 calls a week, you can take back up to 4 hours per week of your time with a virtual receptionist service. And that's time that you can spend on, like Navin said, either billable work or, with your family, or sort of providing that work-life balance that we're all really searching for these days. One of the other things that you can do in addition to a virtual receptionist service is implement a scheduling platform. So this is something that I use in my business. This is something that, it works in basically any industry. But, using a scheduling platform, you can make the back and forth emails or any kind of communications that are happening in order to get things scheduled, just take all of that time away. There are a bunch of different platforms that you can choose. Calendly, Woven, Appointee, Harmonizely, and LawTap are some of the ones that we work with, but there are, tons of them out on the market. So see, what the different options are and what works for you. There's also some options that are included within your CRM if you use one. So Clio's got a calendaring system. LawMagic's has one. Dubsado, tons of them do. So just check with your CRM and see if they already have scheduling built into the platform. Use your scheduling on your email signature, on your website, on your intake form follow-ups. If somebody fills out an intake form, you can just shoot them a link to schedule. Your virtual receptionist can use your scheduling link. Your chat widget can. You can use it on social media. It's really a wonderful tool. And, doing the math, even just with scheduling 10 appointments per week, you can save up to 90 minutes. And that's just back and forth email, which we all know can be, really such a pain to deal with. Another solution for taking back some of your time is billing. So using billing softwares like LawPay, HeadNote, Square, PayPal, integrating them with your systems, whether it's your timekeeping system, whether it's your CRMs, you can use this with a virtual receptionist service as well. One of the main things that you can do with these billing platforms is charging upfront for consultations, which first of all is a really good system for screening new leads. If they're not willing to pay for your consultation fee, then they're likely not going to sign on as a client for you. And then you just get 100% collection rate. If they're paying upfront, then you get paid for that consultation immediately. But you can also recover all of this time that's spent on expenses and payments and chasing down payments and really make this a more simplified system. The last one, probably a lot of people are using it. I know that some lawyers still aren't. So CRM Integrations is a really good system for just sort of streamlining and getting everything in one place, not having to chase down information. One of the biggest things that makes my job easier and makes my information more accessible is CRM platforms. And so this is something that I highly recommend. Clio, Practice Panther, Rocket Matter, LawMagic's, Dubsado, and Client Rock are ones that we work with at Smith.ai a lot, but there are so many out there on the market. So if you don't use one yet, take a look and shop around. This also integrates almost entirely with timekeeping, scheduling, payments, and your virtual receptionist and web chat services, if that's something that you're using. And the Clio Legal Trends Report basically said, firm organization is 0.8 hours a day, transferring information is 0.7 hours a day, troubleshooting technology can be 0.7 hours a day, and your CRM platform can really, take a lot of this, especially the transferring information and the way that it integrates with everything. It can take so much of this time off of your plate, just sort of doing these things that aren't billable work. So yeah, with that, I know I went through that really quickly, but again, go ahead and take a look at those slides if you'd like, and you can review this presentation afterwards. If you do want to get started with Smith.ai and you're not already a Smith.ai client, you can use LawGro. We do a 20 call and 20 chat free trial if you want to do either or both. And then on that second month, use code LawGrow and you'll get $100 off that after your free trial off that first month. Get started at Smith.ai/pricing. All right, so I am going to field some questions now. This is my information, Kelsey at Smith.ai. Feel free to email me personally if you have any questions. I've used and worked with all of these different platforms pretty extensively, so I'm happy to answer any questions about that. But I'm going to actually stop sharing so that I can take questions. It looks like Lucy would like to know, do our receptionists take intake information and integrate with Clio Grow? Yes, we do. Our receptionists are able to do lead qualifications before we even do intake. So something that's really useful is if there are new leads that call you, we will ask them a series of questions according to your firm and really qualify them as a good fit for your services. And then, yeah, we can do intake information and we will send all of that to Clio Grow if you have a Clio Grow integration set up. And if you get started, that first integration is free as well. I have a quick question for Navin. Can you explain a little bit the way that your MagicTime software works to collect billable information for people?
Yeah. So basically, you have to download our software one time on your Mac or PC, wherever you're working on, Windows or a Mac operating system. And then you log it in. And then it would continue to collect various activities that you've been working on in the background. And as I mentioned, like we integrate with a lot of solutions. So for example, like Go to Connect or Ring Central or Talpad kind of accounts. So any phone calls. So we're not able to capture AT&T and other regular telephonic providers as yet. But any VoIP solutions that you use for texting or making and receiving calls, it can be captured directly from their system. So you don't have to manage multiple systems. So you just connect them one time, like your Clio or a Practice Panther kind of account, right, on one side. Then Calendly or a VoIP service provider or a Zoom or GoToMeeting kind of account. Mm-hmm. So you integrate them one time, and then all the activities that you do can be managed directly from LawGro. What we have also rolled out is a very interesting solution, like especially for Clio users. Now you can actually, if you are on LawGro and Clio, you don't have to manage two interfaces. So right from Clio's interface, you can make calls and send text messages directly. And we have also a Chrome extension from where, like anywhere you go, you can actually make calls. Like if you see a phone number on a website, right, you can make calls right from there. You don't have to go to Go to Connect or Dialpad or Ring Central. Right from there, you can make a call. You can send text to them and even file your time right from there itself. So these are some of the advantages that you get. And as I said, with our powerful rules engine, you can even automate them to file it. So for example, you made a call for more than a minute to anyone, it would automatically get filed. You don't have to intervene. Right.
Okay, that's interesting to know that that Chrome extension. I have another question from the attendees. does your system integrate with my case? I can speak about Smithai. We actually don't integrate with my case. My case doesn't have a great platform for creating an integration, but as soon as they have one set up, we are definitely first in line to get that integration set up. Navin, does your
So
system
we are
integrate with
also,
my case?
no, so right now, no. We're talking to them. I think, yeah, so the same issue, they don't have integration support readily available. And that's why it's getting deferred. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then the second part of this question is that this person has Dubsado, and we do a couple of things with Dubsado, and actually just a quick plug, we're doing a webinar with Smithai and Dubsado later this month, I believe, later in November. And so we're going to have Regina Edwards go through her whole intake system that she does with Dubsado, which is amazing. But yes, Dubsado has 3 different ways that we can work with them as the Smithai virtual receptionists. The first is we can do intake through Dubsado forms. We can schedule using Dubsado as well, and we do have a lot of current clients who already use that functionality. And then Dubsado recently built something that's pretty cool. It's a payment platform that's sort of wrapped into the intake as well. And so your Smithai virtual receptionist can do that as well. Please reach out to me at Kelsey at Smith.ai. I wrote up all the documentation for that, so I know pretty well how that works if you're interested in using that with our virtual receptionists. Okay, well, it looks like we are out of time for today. We did want to keep this pretty quick. Please feel free to reach out to me again if you have any other questions, and take a look at my slides. I'm sorry for the technical issue there. I was probably talking too quick.
I just wanted to take a minute to introduce a special.
Oh, yes, of course.
So we have a special offer for Smithai customers. So you get 50% off for next 3 months. You just have to use the code SmithMagic350. And then this is applicable to anyone who is signing up during November 2020. Yeah. So look forward to working with some of you guys, and I hope you would find our solution interesting. One thing I just wanted to focus, we are completely focused on the legal ecosystem, and the kind of tools and apps that we're talking to and then bringing them on board as an integration partners is humongous. So we're trying to go after each and every tool that lawyers use to make sure that if everything can be done just through integration and you never have to visit LawGro. That's it. So it was great interacting with you guys. I hope you had a good session. Look forward to working with some of you.